Okay, for my project, I am gonna focus on the Hispanic community. I'm gonna focus especially on racial identity, geographic identity, and economic identity. The reason why is because in racial identity, a lot of people think that Hispanics all look alike, but we do have a lot of different cultures. For example, we have the Honduran, Hispanic, Honduran, Mexican, Guatemalan, which are the main ones. We actually have a lot differences. Obviously, we don't like Mexicans like me to be called Guatemalan Mexican, or Honduran Mexican. We get offended. But the reason why I talk about the racial identity is because we racially we look different. For example, if you have a donkey, a horse, and a zebra, they all kind of look, body wise, they look the same, but one has stripes, one is a donkey, one is small, and a horse, well, is big. Same thing with Hispanics. Hondurans don't look like Hispanics. Mexicans don't look like Guatemalans, and Guatemalans don't look like Hondurans. So we all have different, racially, we have different things that we got going on. We talk differently. Some of us had dialects. The Guatemalans have dialects. So does the Hondurans, so does Hispanics, but we don't have the same dialect. We all come from different descendants as well. Mexicans are Aztecs, and Guatemalans are Mayans, and the Hondurans, they are Lencas. So even though we're close by, we still have different cultures, different cultures. The way that we geographically, like the Guatemalans, they're more in, like, their foods are really different as well. Like, they add a lot of, like, the main ingredient they have in their food is cinnamon. Reason why? Because the place where the Guatemala is at, the soil is so good, so cinnamon grows really big there. So they put in all their food. Hispanics, we have pepper, we have cocoa, and then we have chile poblano, which we put in our food. All the spicy, it's a little bit spicy, and the Hondurans, they really just pick. They're more Pacific, more island kind of people. They eat bananas with beans, with rice, and that's their thing because they're more islander. They eat a lot more fruit than we do. So our foods are actually even different. Even though we do all eat beans, but we do have a lot of differences in our food. A lot of the Hondurans, how the way they call their food, boledos. The Hondurans call that boledos. Hispanics, we call that quesadillas, and it's a little different. That, like, language is really really different. So the way that we can tell that we're from different areas is based on our food, not just our food, but especially for the dialect that we have. Some of the Hispanics have a different dialect than Guatemalans, and that's based on our ancestry as well. Even in, not just that, not just the food, but the economic too. $100 in Mexico, it's like $2,000, and in Hondurans, the $100 in Mexico is actually 2,500, and in Guatemala, it's 786 for $1,000. I mean $100. So that goes to differ that even the value of money, USA money, like $100, is so different over there. Even though it's higher, but because it's poor, obviously Honduras is more poor than Mexico and Guatemala, so the value is up, and then in Guatemala, well, over there the value is lower, and then Mexico is in the middle. So coming to the United States, the growth that I've seen that back in the past is that we come from a poor country, whichever, I'm speaking for myself, Hispanics, we come from a poor country, come to the United States for a bigger, better opportunity. And then when we were in the US for a long time, we sent money towards Mexico to build houses because everything here, we're trying to grow, we're trying to be better. Also, what I see is that a lot of the countries nowadays, like Mexico, Honduras, back in the days we weren't that strong, but because we tried, we were just us, we were the immigrants. But when it came down to later on in the future, we had more opportunity. Even though we're the minority, we still push forward. We still try to work hard and get what we need and get our house. Even though we're immigrants and the risk of deportation, we still tried our hardest. Now in present, now where you see a bunch of like mayors, Hispanic mayors, Mexicans, Honduran, and Guatemalans helping the community, trying to give us our rights, which we do have now in the future. Now that's been in the future now. and that's really good. That's the progress, and doing all those things has actually helped us be where we're at now. And I believe that in the future there will be a Mexican president. I don't know how that will go, but I feel like if we had a Mexican president, the Hispanic community would feel better. But for us to have that, we really just need to keep pushing and keep, adapting to all the cultures and not just getting offended to, like, if somebody like Mexicans call us Guatemalans, we have to actually be like, correct them and be like, look, I'm Mexican, Guatemalans are different. Even though we have high respect for people, we should always support each other and try not to be offended and bash other cultures when they're in the same community, like the Hispanic community. Even with blacks have African Americans, they have Congo, but they're all in the African American, uh, community, the black community. So I just believe that if we all really come together and we all can become more stronger, more better, and in the future help each other out, stop all this violence and just keep moving forward.